Scott Casper, Takedown Media. Our coverage of the sport continues. We're joined now in the Nike hot seat by one of the great voices of the sport from both BadgerStateWrestling.com and, of course, one of the great voices of the Big Ten Network. Sparky joins us. Shane Sparks from Wisconsin. Shane, how are you?
Doing fantastic, Scott. How are you?
Good. I wanted to just kind of take the temperature a little bit here today, a little bit of an opinion from you based on what's going on as we go over the top news stories of the day. The first being Terry Brands has been named the 2014 Terry McCann Award winner and USA Wrestling's Freestyle Coach of the Year. Deservedly so?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. One of the best coaches in the country, in my opinion. I look at the job he's done with the Hawkeyes and, of course, the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and it's hard to dispute. It's hard to dispute anything that he's done. I've always really respected him, loved him as an athlete. When I was growing up, I graduated in 1994, so that was right in the wheelhouse, those great Hawkeye teams, so loved watching him as an athlete, and I think he's a phenomenal coach. He's always been very cordial to me. He's intense. I always appreciate dealing with those guys anytime I can, so definitely congratulations and absolutely well-deserved, no doubt.
I'm surprised it's taken this long. I know Tom Brands has been Freestyle Coach of the Year twice, going back to 02 and 03, but are you surprised as well it's taken them this long to recognize Terry Brands?
I am very surprised. I read read that article they did, the release on the mat.com, and went back and looked at the past winners, and I was shocked that he hasn't gotten it up to this point because, in my opinion, we'll see what happens, and I don't have any idea what his goals and aspirations are, but I could definitely see him being the next coach of the U.S. men's freestyle team down the road. No question.
Topic number 2. Mark Schultz has said that he doesn't like Logan Stieber, believes that he deserves an ESPY, and but knows he won't win it because he's a wrestler. Ohio State's Logan Stieber named Big Ten Jesse Owens Male Athlete of the Year to add to his accolades. It keeps growing. First of all, your opinion on Logan Stieber, his performance, and is he deserving of an ESPY?
Well, of course he is. I mean, there's him and 3 other guys on the planet that have won 4 national titles. Of course he's deserving of the ESPY. There's no question. You and I were talking about it before, Scott. Kyle Dake with what he did. Anthony Robles, I think he was in the mix as well. What he did was incredible. I mean, Logan Stieber, one of the greats of all time, and you think about all the guys that have strapped the laces on a Division I wrestling mat. 4 guys have won 4 national titles. It's really hard to wrap your head around. And when you look at Logan Stieber, the way he carries himself off the mat, what he does on the mat, man, I'd love to see him get it. Do I think he'll get it? In all honesty, with what Mark Schultz said, I think wrestling, obviously, it's not as high profile. But I think the fact that he was even nominated, I think that really speaks volumes.
I do, too. We go back to his career at 133 in 2012. He defeated Jordan Oliver. Then in 2013, defeated Tony Ramos. Took third at 141 in 2014 against Devin Carter. Finished his senior year with 10 pins, 8 tech falls, 4 majors. That's a dominant wrestler.
And you look at Mitchell Port from Edinburgh. Mitchell Port, phenomenal in his own right, in the way that he put the stamp with all that pressure, the team pressure, the individual pressure, the way he was able to respond. I mean, that's something I'll remember for a long time. He's special with a capital S.
And how special is it, too, that he helps his team to a national title?
He's a great leader. I mean, he's one of those guys that I'd love to spend, he's one of those guys that you spend time with him in any arena. I think you'd learn something from him. And I think another great thing with him is just his representation of the sport. I look at guys like Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, the great ones that just have, a lot of charisma and do a lot of great things. And that's equally as important.
You and I have talked about Kyle Snyder before, the first collegiate athlete in NCAA history to win the U.S. Open and World Team as a freshman. He is a very special young man with a great head on his shoulders. I know you've enjoyed your interview process with him. Talk to us about Kyle Snyder taking an Olympic red shirt.
I think it makes all the sense in the world. It's hard to believe, Scott. Correct me if I'm wrong. This kid graduated from high school a little over a year ago. That's crazy. Then he comes in, wins the U.S. Open, takes care of Olympic gold medalist Jake Varner in 2 matches, had a great NCAA championships. I think it's the right decision. I mean, if you want to win world and Olympic medals, it makes all the sense in the world. The timing is correct for him. The way things have fallen into place. And I mean, this guy, the sky is the limit for what Kyle Snyder can do. This guy's 19 years old. I think he turns 20 in November, I think. And it's going to be pretty incredible when it's all said and done. We'll see what he can do. But taking that Olympic red shirt, I think makes perfect sense. And I think it's an example. And I think many coaches would do this. But, with Tom Ryan, he's got the best interest of his athletes in mind. And I think this is the right decision.
Yeah, the Ohio RTC is where he calls home, along with guys like J.D. Bergman and Reese Humphrey, Logan Stieber, and others. It's the right time, seemingly, for the Buckeyes to shine, and pulling him, perhaps, as you said, Coach Ryan has the best interest of his athletes in mind. How about the way he wrestled Jake Varner? There was I think, a very confident wrestler out there facing the 2012 Olympic champ.
I can't comprehend it. I mean, he's 19 years old. He's so, so much more mature and wiser beyond his years. And, to go out there with great poise, and especially, I mean, that loss against Gadsden in the NCAA finals, that crushed him. But being able to get back off, being able to dust yourself off and get right back at it, it's incredible. I mean, I'd love to be in the mind of some of these guys, and he's definitely one of them. It's incredible.
All right, so we wind up our interview today, brief as it is, with a look back at the World Team Trials that took place in Madison, Wisconsin at the Alliant Energy Center. What are your thoughts looking back now? Is the presentation, the Buckeye Wrestling Club, all of those fans of wrestling that truly came together to make it a special weekend for the sport?
Yeah, second year in a row now that Madison has hosted the World Team Trials. I think they did a great job. You always want more people there. I understand there's a lot of stuff going on this time of year, but man, when you can see, the best wrestlers in the country and some of the best wrestlers in the world, I mean, that's a tough opportunity to pass up on. So as a wrestling fan, I think it was a great 2 days. I thought the wrestling lived up to the hype, and I'm really excited about this team. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I'm a United States wrestling fan, but getting maybe a little bit greedy here, but I think realistically, and again, this stuff, there's a million different factors in this tournament. I don't believe it's seeded. So and the margin for error is so slim. The difference between winning and losing is a fraction. But I'd like to think that realistically, this team can get 5 or 6 medals. And that might be a little aggressive, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, you got 3 guys that have done it with Burroughs and Herbert, Delagnev. Metcalf is right there. We talked about Snyder, and I think Humphrey. I think it's his time as well. And with Ramos and Green, this will be Ramos' second World Championships. Green's first. So anything can happen. But I'm pretty optimistic. It should be exciting, and not to mention with it being on U.S. soil in Vegas. Man, if you're a wrestling fan, I've never been to a World Championships, and I think you only come here like once every 10, 12 years. So as a wrestling fan, this is on my bucket list, and I can't wait to check it off because I think it's going to be really exciting. It could be a great week for United States wrestling.
Well, it all takes place September 7th through the 12th at the Orleans Arena. A few tickets remain. Our guest today in the Nike hot seat has been Shane Sparks. Sparky, has been the Nike hot seat. Has it been comfortable for you?
It's been fantastic. I love this stuff. Talking wrestling, hard to beat this.
We recently had it reupholstered for our guests, so we hope you enjoyed the comfort.
Yeah, it's nice. Got a little spring in the seat. It's good stuff.
BadgerStateWrestling.com, Big Ten Network. You can find Shane almost everywhere. There's a good quality event going on. Shane, on a personal note, outstanding questions. You weren't afraid to have fun with the athletes this year and post-match interviews. It was a lot of fun watching you work, and I think everybody in the arena had a great time too. Job well done.
All right. Appreciate it, Scott.
For all of us at Takedown, I'm Scott Casper. Our very special guest today has been Sparky. Shane Sparks, BadgerStateWrestling.com, Big Ten Network, and more news along the way about Shane's future. We'll keep you up to date as we can. Thanks for listening.